Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Dare I look at this? Dare I look at this? What do you guys think? What is going on in the chat? This live is cool and all, but you know what's not cool? Racism. It's true. It's a good point. Okay, today's the day. Today's the day, guys. I've dreaded this. It's not been easy. I have spent the last probably 20-ish hours that I've been awake, going back and forth on this ranking, changing teams and changing. I just had to lock something into stone. Okay. I don't love it. I certainly don't hate it. I mean, I made it. But I don't love it. No Ranger stream? No. I can't do it, dude. I can't. The Rays series was different just because I was so confident the Rangers were going to win that series that I didn't really care. Like, there was no stressful moments for me. It's hard, dude. The pitch to pitch. So playoff baseball and playoff basketball. Playoff basketball is incredible. I love it. What I love about basketball is the game, it flows. You know, one play happens, another play is happening in the next 12 to 15 seconds usually, right? And it's like that flow of the game, it's tense, it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking, but it's different. Baseball, right? It's pitch to pitch. It's, you think so far ahead because the game, you know, there's at least 15 seconds in between pitches most times. It's like, it's so nerve-wracking and it's so tense, and you just have to sit there and stare at those pitches. Hard. It's hard, man. That game 2 was just brutal. Brutal. And I expect however many more games this series goes, it's going to be brutal. You know? It's just a different viewing experience. And I think I like playoff. I think just from a viewing experience, I can't deny that baseball's tension, I think, is higher. Which makes me think that I kind of like playoff basketball viewing experience much more. Just because, again, the game flows. It just flows a little bit. The way it flows is it makes me have less of a heart attack when I'm watching the game. The Phillies are winning their series. God bless the Diamondbacks. They look unstoppable. The Phillies do. I'm not ready to say this series is over for the Rangers at all. I think it's still very much up in the air. Toddy, please buy an updated Rangers shirt. No! Over time, I do have other Ranger shirts. They're just all so fucking ugly, man. Like, I'm sorry. Sport apparel is ugly. For the most part. I think the Rangers blow the 2-0 lead. Don't watch much baseball. Shut the fuck up, Wicked. You know what? I think the Chiefs aren't making the playoffs. How does that feel? How does that feel? The way I tense up in pro basketball? Or playoff basketball? Playoff basketball is very tense. But like I said, the flow of the game kind of, it alleviates some of that tension because it's just the next play happened, and then the next play happens, and the next play happens, and then the next play happens. Where baseball, it's like you have to sit there and think about every pitch, the break in between pitches. Oh, fuck, Jordan's up third. Oh, my God. Jordan's up in 2 batters. We can't walk this bat. Oh, my. Like, that's just what you're thinking the whole time. And it's just. It's funny watching Slightly on Lockdown and Ask because those dudes would never curse. I was told, I think the first time I went on that show to not curse. I think I did accidentally the first time I was on there. Basketball is more tense before the game starts. Once tip-off, tense feeling goes away. Yeah, it's almost like you're playing, right? Because if you've ever played sports, you know tense big games that you play in at really any level, you're going to have, you know, intense games. Once the game starts, you're kind of locked in and ready to go. Basketball is almost like that for a fan, where it's like once the game's on, you know, we're watching it and the plays are happening and it's, but baseball, it's just the tension. Every pitch is just excruciating. You gonna speak your shit on the Oladipo trade? Listen, I want to say this. Well, do I want to say this? Yeah, I'll say it. I'll say it. Listen, man. I don't fault the Thunder really at all. I get it. I get the sentiment. I understand that as a fan, you don't want your team, even if your team is trading for, then immediately cutting said player. You don't want to trade for the player that just committed heinous acts. But that player is going to be getting paid anyways. No matter what you do, that player is getting money. You know, there's nothing, unless the NBA stepped in and full-fledged suspended him the whole year, which I don't know if that's a possibility or not. It might be. And that's why I was... I don't know. People are, you know, a lot of think pieces after the Kevin Porter Jr. trade. But again, he was going to get paid regardless. He was going to get waived regardless. The Thunder figured we can get some picks out of this. Fuck it. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think it's that bad. Probably is going to be handing out Locked On Mavs condoms at the AAC soon. So for those of you wondering, yes, I was on Locked On Mavs last night. And yes, Nick and I have talked over the last week or so. I'm not going to be a co-host on Locked On Mavs. I'm just going to say that right now. Not going to be like the new co-host on Locked On Mavs. But I will be on it much more frequently. We're talking like maybe once a week. Maybe a little bit more than that. But it's not going to be a nightly thing. And that's the way it should be. I am on here 6 hours a week, bare minimum in the offseason. Oh, and by the way, we have today's stream. We're doing Western Conference predictions. Monday, award predictions. That is the last off-season stream. Then the season starts. So there's 2 day streams left before we shift towards game streams. Kind of sad. I like these streams. They're fun. Doing daily Mavs content sounds super overwhelming. I don't think I could ever do that. There's that, and it's also too like you guys just hear so much from me regardless. Like, do you need to hear more of me? Do you need to hear more of me? And Friday we are soft launching. B-Dot, go ahead and send that playback link. Friday we're going to be soft launching. The Mavericks play on Friday, their last preseason game against the Pistons. Friday night. We're going to be soft launching what I plan to be doing this season, which is post-game shows over on playback.tv/slightly biased. We'll watch the game here, obviously, and then move there afterwards. Why do I like doing this? There is built-in call-in features. Built-in call-in features where you guys can call in and you know, all of that stuff. So I think it'll be a lot of fun over there. We're going to be soft launching that on Friday. So is that technically a soft launch? That sounds like a hard launch. Now I can be able to join Friday's stream. Going to play Spider-Man 2 with my boy. You were very hyped about Spider-Man 2. I hope it's good. I hope it's good for your sanity. It will be good. That first game was really fun. Let me tweet out that I'm live right now. Western Conference predictions. You don't want to miss this. It's a slightly launch. That's the best word. Ringer top 100. Rangers. Can I say really quickly here? Very rarely does Bibbs get into this bag, but I like when Bibbs gets petty. I like when Bibbs gets petty over on Twitter. It's hilarious to me because he's like he very rarely does it. Did you hear Bill Simmons' take on the Mavs on their over/under episode? Yes. Bill Simmons hates the Mavericks this year. Like hates them. I don't get it. Well, I do get it. He hates Kyrie Irving, and I listen to all of them. I love these podcasts. I like the Bill Simmons podcast. It's funny. I think Bill Simmons is a funny guy. He's very entertaining to listen to. He's unapologetically a Boston Celtics homer fan, which I think is hilarious. I have no problem with that. I was shocked that the other two, Ryan Russillo and House, were over on us, especially Russillo. But it does feel all throughout the Bill Simmons over/under podcasts that some insecurity there. Like so many pot shots at the Bucks from a Celtics fan. I don't know, man. Feels like he's kind of scared. It's been a lot of like, oh, Luka, does Luka make other teammates better? Why do you think he's saying that? Why do you think Celtics fans are so in their own heads about what Luka Doncic does? Why do you think that is? I don't get why being down on the Mavs this year is surprising for you. It's not surprising for me. One thing you also have to notice, one thing you have to remember, their over-under is like 43.5. That is such an unbelievably low win total. That's the other thing, too. Like, we're talking about win totals over-under. Like, dude, 43.5 is two games above 500. And I know they were under that last year, but I don't know. To think that that's who they are is a little bit shocking to me. I'm just not trying to spoil my Western Conference prediction. Anyways, guys, be fully prepared for batshit insane. Be fully prepared for batshit insane takes about Kristaps Porzingis this season. He's looked really good. He's going to be good for the Celtics when he's on the floor. Just be 100% prepared for a lot of those. A lot of those takes. All right, let me look at this. I haven't seen this yet. I saw like on their little blurb on their thing, they said that they completely redid this top 100 list. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. They had 7. They have Luka at 7. If Luka is not top 5, I'm clicking off this list immediately. If Luka's not top 5, I'm clicking off this list. Bill Simmons, Rob Mahoney, Michael Pena, Chris Ryan, and Justin Verrier. If he's not top 5, I'm clicking off. He's 7th. Luka's 7th. Oh, my God. Oh, he's 4. Okay. We're good. I feel like this is the no questions asked top 4. I mean, really, I do. Tatum 5. How the fuck is Tatum top 5? I mean, Tatum's definitely got an argument for that 5 spot. Bad motherfucker who somehow has more to prove after winning his first MVP. Well, yeah, because he was terrible yet again in the postseason. AD 7, Jimmy Butler 8. Picture is absurd, man. Barista. Extremely online for Kevin Durant. I don't think Jimmy's top 8 in the league. D-Book at 9. Sneaky, terrible jersey right there. Day 10. Why 13? All right. Oh, Jamal Murray 15 is nuts. Can we see those badges on Luka? Passing virtuoso, pull-up threat, clutch gene, interior scoring. So I just went to your playback page. No parties were scheduled. Oh, yeah. B-Dot linked the playback page. Make sure you guys go sign up. We'll talk more about it on Friday probably, but if you guys wanted to take part in the post-game shows, call in and stuff like that, all you have to do is sign up for playback. It's free. Throughout the season, when the Mavericks aren't playing, we will be live over there as well watching games. And if you have League Pass, you can link up your League Pass and we can watch the games together. Slightly Globe Life Field needs your energy tonight. Ah, man, I wish. I really do. I wish. Thought about it. Thought about it. How do you guys feel about this? Is it this obviously isn't messed up, but is it a little bit messed up? Messed up might be the wrong word, but I had family who was like, "Hey, we got 2 tickets to the Rangers game. We tried to get you a ticket, but we just couldn't get another one. Sorry." I'm like, "Why would you even say that? Why would you even tell me you tried to get me in there?" It's just not, I don't know, man. It's like $150 for the cheapest tickets. It's a lot. They did flex on me. They did flex on me. I mean, they said it in a nice way. They weren't like fucking. They weren't like trying to be mean. I was just like, damn. I wish I didn't even know. Jamal Murray at 15 is nuts. Like, can we just say that? Like, is Jamal Murray really better than Donovan Mitchell? Here in Fox 17. Whoa, that feels really high too. When available, he's the single most thrilling player to watch. Paul George, Bam, Jaylen Brown. At least they have Fox over Sabonis. Zion up at 26. Trey at 28. That's too low. That's too low, but that's just the reality with Trae Young and being a Trae Young defender. You got to understand. Don't know Kyrie Irving. Still no Kyrie Irving. Harden at 36. Oh, I thought Harden would be in the 50s. I did see Bill Simmons tweet out that he was bragging that he had Harden in the 50s and 2 spots below Derek White. Jesus. Kyrie at 38. Chaos Agent, who happens to be one of the most electrifying players of his era. Extremely Online is the first badge. Extremely Online. Set aside the bullshit for a minute. But the bullshit is almost never ending at this point. Just another reality. It's tough being a Trae Young defender, a Kyrie Irving defender. You know, you're fighting tooth and nail every day. It's hard. They got Levine at 39. I like that. Mobley at 42. That feels kind of low for the Ringer. LaMelo. I gotta say, this is a good list. I have to say, so far, this is a pretty good list. I haven't seen anything too absurd. No, Josh Giddey was not a top 15. Okay. Again, nothing too nuts. Reeves at 60. That's feels about right. I feel like that might be a little low for Brook Lopez, honestly, but Derek White at 56 and ESPN didn't rank him top 100, right? I think that I really do think an oversight happened at ESPN. Like, it kind of feels like ESPN just looked at the starting lineups of every team and told their voters to pick off of that. Because I don't know how the hell you miss out on Derek White. There's Wemby at 67. I had Wemby higher than that. The MPJ disrespect must stop. That's a fair MPJ ranking. He's around there. Kind of feels a little low for Claxton. Oh, Brogdon 79. This is fucked up. Rating 6th man of the year who's in a race against his next injury. Who wrote that? Who wrote that? In a race against his next injury. Yeah, ESPN had CJ McCollum 44. That's an egregiously bad ranking by ESPN. This is a pretty good list. I have to say. I couldn't in good faith have Herder in my top 100 after the playoffs last year. Not bad. It's not as bad as ESPN. ESPN had some like egregiously bad rankings. I feel like ESPN was like, we need something to talk about on the 9:30 a.m. slot of this ESPN show on Wednesday. Can you just have one fucking weird ranking in the top 100 so we can just debate it for 30 minutes? Two Mavericks on the Ringers rankings. I only had two Mavericks in my rankings, so nothing too crazy there. I literally cannot fathom having RJ Barrett in my top 100. Am I just super low on him? I mean, I didn't have him in mine either. To be fair, they have him, what, in the 90s? He's a really hard player to evaluate. It's just like one game it looks good, next game it looks horrible. I mean, they have him 95. So. Who's the next Mav making it to this list at any point? Probably Grant Williams, if I had to guess. But another Mav made it mid-season, Grant Williams or Josh Green. No, not a bad list at all, honestly. It felt like in their last rankings, it felt like they were starting to get a little sensational with it. You know? What up, Z? Like, I think they had like Lucas 7th or something like that. Like, it was starting to get a little sensational. This list feels good. I mean, I don't have too many qualms. I would bump AD into the top 10 like I did. I'd bump Jimmy out. I think Booker's better than KD at this point. Another surprising thing on their over-under podcast, Bill Simmons. Ryan Russillo said he'd rather have Devin Booker than Jason Tatum. I was kind of surprised to hear that. It's an interesting one. I will say this about D-Book, though, because the argument was like, well, Devin Booker brings it in the playoffs. D-Book's got a good PR team. Not a lot of talks about the horrendous last two closeout games that he's played in. Or elimination games, I guess I should say. But I like the take, honestly. I think I'd rather have Tatum, but I think Devin Booker is really good. Devin Booker, actually, we'll talk about Monday's our award prediction stream, but Book's got some outside chance at winning MVP. It's not impossible at all. I thought they were talking about Booker over Shea. No way Bill would have let that slide. No, Ryan Russillo straight up said he would rather have Booker than Tatum. I have to say, it makes my heart happy that Booker and Shea's even kind of a conversation, because this is back whenever I was first getting started. I only had like 200 followers on Twitter. But one of my first times ever getting dragged on Twitter was when I said I would rather have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on my team than Devin Booker. This was like 3 years ago. I feel a little vindicated. Suns offense looked crazy in preseason. Dude, they're good. they're really good. They're going to be a problem. Shaq predicted the Mavs to win the finals. I did see that. Josh Giddey predicted Josh Green to win most improved player. Just shouting out his Aussie boys all. And Shaq picked the Mavericks to win the finals. I'd have to go back and look at Shaq's track record, but my gut instinct tells me that's not good for the Mavericks. Gil and KG said Book is way better than SGA. Way better? I would rather have Book right now than SGA, but I think Book's slightly better than SGA right now, but way better I think is really overstating it. Actually, the reality is, and this is coming from the biggest non-Thunder fan SGA defender there is, the biggest SGA propagandists. I was there from the beginning. I've seen the vision for years. He's got to do something in the playoffs, right? Like one thing we have to remember when we're comparing players is D-Book's been to the finals. Shea has not played in a playoff series since the bubble and has not been in the playoff series as like the number one guy. Shea's been to the playoffs twice. Once as a rookie, then the next year in the bubble, second year guy playing with Chris Paul. And he did not have a good series. And he did have a bad game in the play-in tournament. But the thing about the play-in tournament, it's one game, one bad game looks really bad. Okay. We just dive into it. Do we dive into the predictions, man? Are you guys ready? Did you guys come prepared with yours? If you guys haven't liked the stream yet, make sure you do so. It helps me out tremendously. It's YouTube and having a great time, of which we are. Oh my God, Shams. Why would you start this tweet like this? 76ers Joel Embiid, the reigning NBA MVP, is nearing an endorsement deal with Skechers. Oh, he's done. Yeah, he's out. He's done. He's done. He's done. He's done. He's done. It's over. It's over. It's done. I'm trying to find the Julius Randle Skechers shoes. They're really bad. Have we already looked at that? We already looked at these. These really aren't that bad. The Skechers logo is just so bad, man. Like, it's just such an ugly... As a Knicks fan, this is pretty disheartening. We can't have our starting power forward out there with some sketchies. I mean, it's not a horrible looking shoe. If I'm just being honest. The Skechers logo is just so bad, though, man. And these are really bad. These are really, really bad. I mean, these are as bad as it gets, almost. Looney Tunes ass shoes. This looks like, your grandparents are in town and they bought you a new pair of shoes from Sam's Club. And your parents make you wear them out to dinner to make your grandparents happy. Like that's what these kind of give off. Who's keeping Skechers in business? Old people. You get to a point where I don't give a shit what I look like. I'm trying to be comfortable. I've not reached that point. I always look good. And I'll probably never reach that point. Most of you will, for sure. Most of you probably already there. I'll never get there. Always just look good. I'm a little bit nervous about this. Keep in mind, I went back and forth. I went back and forth up until the start of this stream about where I wanted certain teams, who I wanted missing. Here's the thing about the West. 11 teams. There's 11 teams. Fuck the play-in tournament. There's 11 teams that want to make the playoffs. There are 11 teams that I promise you, if you ask them, would consider falling outside of the top 6 a failure. 11 teams that fit that category, right? One of those 11 teams is straight up not going to make the playoffs at all, a la the Dallas Mavericks a year ago. Just joined. Are you interested in being like a one-time a week Locked On Mavs co-host? I talked about it earlier in the stream. That is probably what we're going to do. Like once a week, maybe twice. So what it's going to come down to, and this is what it came down to last year. The Mavericks, they were injured. People don't talk about that. They were injured. Nothing too catastrophic, but they were dealing with injuries, and they just had a season from hell. It's gonna come down to what team out there has bad injuries and what team out there has a season from hell. It's going to be one team. I love the low effort word art. Low effort, buddy. What do you mean low effort? So let's just get into it. Here was my last year's predictions. They weren't good. The Eastern Conference wasn't that bad, but I feel like it was a much easier conference to predict last year. The West was a clusterfuck last year. No two ways around it. And my predictions were terrible. Bro, disconnected for a sec. I did. I have ADHD, guys. It's bad. Like sometimes I'll get like a text and I'll be replying to a text and then I'll open up Instagram or something. I'm like, oh my God, I'm streaming. Yes, I had the Mavericks at 2 last year. If you want something funny, go back and look at some of those summer streams. I was really feeling the Mavericks. Really feeling the Mavericks, man. My dumbass said they got better after losing Brunson. I learned a lot. I learned a lot as a person last year. I really did. Last year taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. So, did I have a single good prediction here? I'm trying to think. I did think going into the season last year, people thought the Jazz were going to be the worst team. I thought that they would be much more frisky than people expected. I was right on that. Thought the Blazers would be a disaster. I was right on that. I thought the Thunder would be pushing for a play-in spot. They did make the play-in spot. Thought the Kings would be good. They were obviously not the 3 seed, but they were good. All my other predictions were total trash. I'm just looking at it now. I thought the Warriors would be really, feeling themselves after a championship win. And I thought, here's my logic. I thought that the Draymond punching Jordan Poole thing would actually fuel the team in a weird way. Not close. The Nuggets at 4 is kind of brutal in retrospect. I mean, the Mavs look good until they didn't last year. Yeah, the Mavs had their season from hell. And, again, at least one team that wants to be in the playoffs this year for the West is going to have their season from hell. And it's just trying to figure out who that is. This shit is so hard due to the trade deadline. And that's a good point, too. There's a bunch of teams in the West that I think are stocked and ready to go at the trade deadline. I could see the Thunder. If the Thunder are like a top 5 seed at the trade deadline, they have so much ammunition. I could see them making a big all-in trade. It would be a little bit shocking just because that's not how they operate, but it could happen. The Pelicans have a lot of trade assets. If they're good around the trade deadline, I could see them making a big all-in trade. The Kings, the Mavericks, I think, are going to be busy at the trade deadline this year. The Lakers have like weirdly are really kind of stocked up for a trade. So a lot of this stuff, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So let's just knock it out. Let's get into it, okay? The Warriors are a Draymond injury from being in the play-in range. So again, kind of like the Eastern Conference, I'm not really like predicting injuries unless we're talking about a team that is often injured. $15. Who's finishing last in the West? What do you guys think? What do you guys think here is at 15? I will say the bottom bit of my predictions are pretty chalky. Mavs? Come on, guys. Get serious. Blazers or Spurs? I'm going with the Blazers. They are projected to finish last by Vegas, 27.5. Zay with the $5. Mavs will win 60 regular season games. Luka will win MVP and will get his first ring of mini this year. Don't ask how I know. All right, you heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first. Thank you, Zay. Jonah Heim, Corey Seager, and Adolis Garcia are leading the way for their positions Gold Glove awards. Really, Adolis? What about Simeon? So anyways, Vegas has the Trailblazers finishing last, 27.5 wins. That's like kind of a semi-high win total for a team projected to finish last. Sidemen. Last 3 seasons, 21-56 without Damian Lillard, but obviously they're a team that was built around Damian Lillard, so that's not really fair. Simons without Damian Lillard in his career, 20.5 points, nearly 5 assists, 55 games. Not bad numbers. But again, it's going to be a full year where Simons is probably the best player offensively. This gets brought up all the time by Blazers fans. Last 10 games for Shaedon Sharpe last year, 23 points, 46% from the field, 38% from 3. Really encouraging stuff, but 10 games for a tanking team. I mean, not a lot you can take from that. Scoot 19, Sharpe 20, Simons 24. I just don't think this team's going to be very good. And that's all right. I mean, that's the direction that they're headed in. There is a world where dominating, looks like a top 5 center again. Dude, Henderson's like rookie of the year front runner, and Shaedon Sharpe looks closer to the final 10 games of the season last year than the other 72 games. And somehow, some way, this backcourt works defensively. And this seems like kind of frisky, Utah Jazz-ish. Like, it's February, and you're like, oh, holy shit. Like, they're not trading Jeremy Grant because they think they might make the play-in tournament. But the much more realistic world is the offense looks very weird sometimes. Ayton's like, hey, I want to shoot. Like, I wanted to shoot in Phoenix. They didn't let me get the ball. I kind of understood it in Phoenix because they're trying to win a championship. Here, what's the excuse? I want the fucking ball in my hands. Jeremy Grant says, hey, I just got paid $35 million. Give me the ball. Scoot Henderson says, hey, I was a 3rd overall pick. I want the ball. Shaedon Sharpe says, hey, I was just a 7th overall pick. I want the ball. Anthony Simons says, hey, I'm probably the best offensive player here. I want the ball. Malcolm Brogdon says, hey, I just won 6th man of the year. I want the ball. And I feel like that's a much more realistic scenario. And Jeremy Grant, forget the trade deadline. I don't even know if Jeremy Grant's going to be on the team in January. So I don't think this team will be good, but that's exactly what they want. So nothing too crazy about that. 14, again, like I said, I'm going very chalky here for the bottom part of the Philip says, I'm Mr. Big Shot. I want the ball. They're going to try and pump Ayton's numbers so they can trade him. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance that, I mean, not a good chance, but there was a world where Ayton's also dealt at the deadline. Yeah, 14, I'm going with the Spurs. Vegas has them at 14th, 28.5 wins. They won 22 a season ago, I believe. And I mean, it's just, what are we going to get from Victor Wembanyama? What are we going to get from Mr. Vic? And not just that. I'm pretty confident he'll be the best rookie when he's on the floor. But how often is he going to be on the floor? Are they going to give him a minute restriction? Are they going to take it super easy with him? Or, oh, when we tweaked his ankle, he's out 2 weeks. Predict his stat line. I'll go like, let's see. Paolo averaged 20 last year as a rookie. I don't think Victor will average 20. I'm gonna go like 18.5 points a game, like 4 assists, 8.5 rebounds, 2 blocks. They'll be super cautious about everything. Yeah, and that's why. And they don't care about winning at all. Like that's it too. If they were serious about winning, they had the money and they could have made moves. They could have said, "Hey, Brook Lopez, how much money is it going to cost for us to get you in here so we can have like an actual anchor defensively next to Wemby?" And it allows us to do different things. Reeves, we'll throw you however much money, the Lakers will match, whatever, we'll throw it. Fred VanVleet, we need a guard. Like, how much money do you want? But they didn't do that. They're still trying to be bad. As they should. As they should. Devin Vassell only played 10 games from January 1st onwards. He averaged 18.5 points per game, nearly 40% from 3 in 38 games last year. I'm excited for him. I'm hoping he gets a full season. There's a world where this team is frisky, for sure. I don't think there's any, like, for sure, stamp it in dog shit teams in this conference. So we'll see. Respect Zach Collins. Zach Collins is good. All right, 13. Who are we thinking here, boys? This is where it starts. I feel fairly confident that those two are the bottom 2 teams. Who are we thinking here at 13, boys? Who are we thinking? Jazz. Yeah, it is the Jazz. So you might be thinking to yourself, what the hell? The Jazz? Last year, they were the 12th seed. They're going to get worse? Yes. Also, the conference got better. And here's the reality. Before the Mike Conley trade, they had the 4th best offense in the league. 4th. After that trade, 24th. Huge drop-off. And they didn't really get a point guard. I guess they're relying on Keontae George, which, okay. I guess they're relying on Keontae George. Colin Sexton. Still think they'll be a fun team. Still think they'll be a good team, but not an easy team to play. Yeah, I'm interested to see Keontae George. I really wasn't that high on him in the draft, but he's looked really good so far, and they love him. Taylor Hendricks is an interesting one. He's like barely playing in the preseason, so that one already kind of giving strange vibes for the 9th overall pick. And Bryce Sensabaugh, has he played at all, or is he's still hurt, right? So we'll see. I don't think this team will be as frisky as they were a year ago. But it is interesting, though, because I like Abaji, but they were reportedly, like, kicked the tires on Damian Lillard. They reportedly kicked the tires on Drew Holiday. So they were in these rumors for, like, big all-in win-now pieces. Which is interesting to me, but that feels more like Danny Ainge just being like, whatever trade makes sense for the team, we'll do it. And I'm not so sure. Like, I've seen people say, oh, they went out and got John Collins, so they're trying to win. I don't think that's what that means. And that just felt like an easy flyer for them. All right, 12. Getting close to the team from hell. Whatever team misses the play-in tournament is going to be in these next two. Next to impossible predicting the team from hell. Rockets, 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 Rockets. Houston, Rockets, Rockets. Yeah. There's going to be a team from hell. They're going to miss the playoffs. There's going to be a team from hell that misses the play-in tournament entirely. And if I'm just sitting down, looking at all of the teams, trying to figure out and map out the direction of these teams, if said season from hell were to occur, the Pelicans are the team, to me. I mean, do I need to, it says right there, do I need to say it, man? Zion's played a quarter of the games in his career. I don't remember what podcast it was. I was listening to one and someone was like, hey, someone's, like, Zion's gonna have to have a healthy season at some point. Why? I mean, that would be great. That would honestly be great. That would honestly be great for the league if Zion did have a healthy season. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm not rooting for it. But why? Why does he have to be healthy? Brandon Ingram also. I can't get the taste of Brandon Ingram's Team USA performance out of my mouth right now. It was like I need him to provide me with some mouthwash early in the season so I can rinse that taste out of my mouth because it was bad. Do it from 12 to 10. No, this is what Vegas has them as. Vegas thinks they'll be the 10th seed. Please no. Oh, Dalton Trigg. This, according to Woj, Klay Thompson, the Warriors have no progress contract extension talks. Meanwhile, the Mavs have uncertainty. Fuck. Oh, thank God. You guys didn't see anything that you haven't seen already. I respect Dalton Trigg's hustle. Okay, so let's say worst case scenario happens. God forbid. Zion's hurt and missing time. Brandon Ingram's hurt and missing time. Or the team is just... Listen, I don't look at much into the preseason much at all, okay? It's just not smart to do that. I have watched some of these Pelicans games. Dude, it's looked bad. I'm sorry. Like, the process looked bad. The body language looks terrible. It worries me. It worries me. If things are going poorly for this team, there's already been so much smoke around Zion trade. Who's to say the Pelicans at the trade deadline this year, if things aren't going right for them, say, all right, we need to maximize. If something were to happen to Zion between now and the end of the season and he's hurt and he's missing an extended period of time, his value is going to be pretty much zero at this point. Like, we need to maximize. Let's trade him now. And on top of that, this was an interesting stat I came across. Opponents had the lowest three-point percentage in the league last year with the Pelicans. Now you might think, oh, they played good three-point defense. I think they were like top 6 in open three-pointers given up. So they got fairly lucky in shooting number wise last year. I don't know where Zion would end up, but it's just trying to map out the teams from hell. All right. The Pelicans just check a lot of the boxes. A lot of the boxes get checked off. Maybe the Sixers just suck as a franchise, but I saw Embiid win an MVP after missing 4 straight seasons. I mean, Embiid is an outlier case, but even then, I think the Zion stuff is worse. Okay, so 11. Who's the last team to miss the play-in entirely? Who's it gonna be? Oh, dare I? Did I put them in the play-in tournament? Did I put them in the play-in tournament? No, I didn't. It's the Rockets here. I think Houston might be the sneaky, like, oh shit, Houston's 3 games out of the play-in spot team. I'll probably regret it, but whatever. I mean, they've just been so bad over the last few years, like shockingly terrible. Offensive rating the last 3 years, 27th, 26th, 27th. Defensive rating the last 3 years, 27th, 29th, 27th. So they've consistently been just a horrific team. Yeah, Min Thompson has looked incredible. But look at these offensive numbers from last year. Dead last in half-court offense. Dead last in assists per game. Dead last in 3 points made per game. Dead last in 3-point shooting. You know, they got a lot better. They did. I mean, Vegas is kind of reflecting that. This is a damn near a 10-win boost from last year. That's a lot. That's a big jump. New coaching staff. Ime Udoka, I think we all kind of agree, is a good coach. Some very interesting rookies. Fred VanVleet to sort of stabilize the offense. Dylan Brooks, a dog, some identity, somebody who tries hard on defense. Kind of perfect for this Houston team. Can you show 15 through 11 just got in? Blazers, Spurs, Jazz, Pelicans, Rockets. Yep, got out of KPJ, which there might be some addition by subtraction there. Not just for off the court dumb shit, but also he was their point guard, man. And that's not really his fault. But, I mean, they got better. And they'll be a bit frisky. They got a good coaching staff now, a well-respected coaching staff. Could we see, yeah, Jalen Green, most improved? Could we see something like that? Alperen Şengün, most improved? Could we see Jabari Smith, maybe? They really just need, like, one of those guys to have, like, a semi-breakout year, and they'll be much better. Alongside Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks. Yeah, they went out and got Jock Landale. Weird question, but do you think Rockets plus Luka minus Fred are better than the Mavs? No. No. Not right now. Plus one on Twitter saying Mavs will regret taking Lively over Cam Whitmore. I mean, maybe. I wasn't that high on Cam Whitmore going into the draft. I mean, we have to see it, man. All right, here we go. We are now into the play-in teams. It doesn't get easier from here. It does not get easier from here. And I do want to say, I could see this. I have 2 schools of thought. I could see this, the Western Conference being very similar to last year, where like 2 games separate the 10 seed from the 6 seed, and then like 4 games separate the 3 seed from the 10 seed. I could see that. I could also see a scenario where things kind of stabilize a bit, and the old guard, the top dogs who have been there for a while, just say, all right, we're gonna win games this year. We're gonna put our foot down. We want to be a top 4 seed. And the breakout teams that everyone's expecting aren't really ready yet. You got Warriors 10, Kings, Mavs, every single, it's just Wolves, like every single team is an option here. Damn, at 10 already gets them, it's the Mavs, fuck you. Clippers. Oh, Şengün's got a lot of fanboys. Don't know if it's a Turkish thing or what. OKC. This is where I have Sacramento. And I'm going to be 100% real. I really considered, this was a last minute change. I really considered having them miss it entirely. And let me just explain why. Last season, literally everything that could have possibly gone right for this team did. Okay? Literally everything. It was a magical season. And give them props. Give them credit for taking advantage of a very strange Western Conference. Give them credit for taking advantage of being abnormally healthy. They did a great job. The best offense in the league. I believe, by efficiency-wise, this was the best offense of all time or something like that. 25th in defensive rating. That's not a winning formula. That's not a sustainable winning formula. Trust me. Hey guys, I'm a Mavericks fan. Trust me, I know. Okay, that's not a sustainable winning formula. It's nice here and there. You know, you're gonna have seasons like you just had where everything goes your way. It feels like it's not a sustainable winning formula, and I don't see that defense improving. Really, I mean, I'm trying to think. What do they do to improve the defense? JaVale McGee, like I don't see the defense improving for them. Not a lot of teams built around Sabonis are gonna have good defenses. That's just the reality of the situation at hand. I had to double check this stat. 13-5 in 1-point games of the final 10 seconds. 13-5. I mean, give them credit, right, for winning those games, but that's an absurd number. That's just absurd. That's absurd. They outperformed their expected win total by 2 games. This stat's also insane too. Every 15+ minute per game player for them last year played over 72 games. I mean, listen, you're not going to get that injury luck again. You're just not. Give them props. Give them credit for taking advantage of it, because they did. And it was a magical season, and it was a lot of fun, like the beam. But you're not getting that injury luck again. If you did, that would be incredible. If you did, you have the greatest training staff in the history of sports. There's just a lot of the peripheral stuff for them I don't love. And again, they took advantage of a very weird topsy-turvy conference last year. And I'll say this. This might sound strange, but the 3 seed was a magical run last year. If they finish as like the 6th seed or the 5th seed or something like that, I think that's more impressive than last year's finish if they do it this year. And let's say they have a couple of injuries and, you know, there's a little bit of adversity and, you know, the West is tougher, but they still finish as the 6th seed. I think that's more impressive than what they did a season ago. And it's definitely possible. Like I said, I think there's probably going to be like 2 games separating these teams. So, but I just think if I had to pick any team to regress, it's easily this team. Easily. All right. Moving on to 9. Where do you put these teams? Where do the Thunder go? Where do the Timberwolves go? Where do the Mavs go? OKC, Thunder, Warriors, Grizzlies. Here, the funny thing is, you're going to see every team mentioned. Like I said, every single team is going to be mentioned for every single one of these. This is where I got the Clippers. There's no real. Vegas has them. I wrote 6th here, but this is actually tied for 5th with the Grizzlies, I believe. You're an idiot if you bet on this team. That's just the reality. You're an idiot if you bet on this team. That's it, right? Yes, if they're healthy, they'll be great. That's it. If they're healthy, they'll be tremendous. And I'm not as confident in this depth as I was in years past. Like, all of their depth guys are just getting older. Interested in a full season with Russ. He did look really good there. Great ranking as always. Thanks, man. They're just getting older. I am like, Russ did look legitimately really good with the Clippers, and I am excited to see him a full season there. And if they trade for Harden, it does change a little bit. I think they're a little bit better if they do trade for Harden. I don't know, because last year, even when unhealthy, they were the 5 seed. I'm almost willing to toss out the entirety of last year in the West. It was just so fucking weird. It was just such a weird year in the conference. They're a lot better with Harden. I need to see what they look like with Russ for a full season before I say a lot better. But yes, they're better with Harden. Their ceiling is higher with Harden. YPG Russ Harden would have gone brazy 7 years ago. That would have gone brazy. And I mean, the Clippers, I know that they're introducing rules to sort of slow down on load management. But if I'm the Clippers, I'm looking, okay, Kawhi fucking hurt his knee in the playoffs last year and had to miss the whole series after it looked like he was entering God mode yet again in the playoffs. I'm looking at the Miami Heat. Playing team, made it to the finals. We could do that. Like, we don't give a shit. NBA, fine us. Kawhi's not playing tonight. Clippers give up on trying to please Kawhi and trade him at the deadline. You know, there is. I was trying to map out every scenario from hell for every team. Kawhi and Paul George are both pending free agents. So, I mean, I don't know what would possibly have to happen. I don't know what would have to happen for some weird nightmare scenario. I can't imagine there's a scenario where those guys are traded mid-season. But is it 0%? I would say no. Maybe like 0.5. PG feels like a Mavs move to me 100%. It does kind of feel like a Mavs move. So anyways, Clippers here. They could definitely be very good. 8 seed. Yeah. Good, man. You guys haven't tried predicting this. I really encourage you to. It is a bloodbath. It really is. Everyone's on the table at this point, guys. I will say this: the Mavericks are on the table. I didn't go brazy like I did last year. The Mavericks are on the table for any of these next few spots. I just want to say that everyone is. Everyone outside the Nuggets, just spoiler alert, are on the table here. Golden State, Mavs, Memphis, Warriors. Again, look at this, man. Every single team. It's hilarious. This is where I landed. And I changed this last second, by the way. This was a last second change. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it. This is where I landed with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Everyone's darling team going into the season. I really want to sit down and look at the darling teams every year and how they end up doing. But this wouldn't be a bad scenario for the Thunder. Like, I don't want this to seem like I'm low on the Thunder or I'm not buying into the Thunder. Like, 8 seed is a good outcome for the Thunder this year in a tough conference. Okay, like let's not get buck wild with the expectations here. This would be a nice solid come up for them, okay? Which one was last year's? Which one was it last year? Was it? I mean, everyone loved the Nuggets going into the season. I remember everyone loved the Raptors. I do remember that. Everyone loved Toronto, weirdly. I think it was the Pelicans was the team last year. Going into the season, the Pelicans were like the darling team. The young darling team. Like, I don't really count the Timberwolves because they made big trades. OKC could 1,000% be a 3 seed. Like, they have a high ceiling. This is interesting, right? Because I was talking with a friend of mine who's an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, talking about the Mavericks and the Thunder. A lot of the questions you have about the Mavericks, you can ask about the Thunder. Last year, their huge weaknesses. Interior defense was not good. Rebounding was terrible. They were dead last in second chance points allowed. They were 28th in defensive rebounding percentage. Does Chet swing the pendulum enough in their favor there to improve? He'll help. He'll definitely help. The same exact things. It's kind of funny how similar these teams are in a weird way. The same exact things people say about Kyrie and Luka. Kyrie and Luka can't work. Kyrie and Luka can't work. And I find this funny. Kyrie and Luka can't work. That's why we were low on the Mavericks. But yet they'll turn around and get on their knees and suck the Thunder's dick. Are we sure Shea and Giddey works? Because it hasn't. They haven't looked great on the court together. And they need them to be great on the court together to be what everyone thinks they can be. And what I definitely think they can be. When those two are on the floor together, minus 1.5 net rating, 117 defensive rating. Shea without Giddey, plus 8. That's not like plus 1, they're pretty good. Plus 8 is like dominant. 112 defensive rating. Giddey without Shea is minus 4. with a 115 defensive rating. And Giddey on the floor for the Thunder last year was a minus 8 points per 100 possession swing versus when he was off. Can that change? Like, that has to change. This isn't like for the future, the Thunder aren't win or bust this year. So, but for the future of this team, that has to change. Forget about them being the darling team making a great run this year. Just for the future of their team, that has to change. And in order for that to change, Shai's either going to have to be a knockdown three-point shooter. Two of these three guys are going to have to be consistent knockdown three-point shooters. Shai, Chet, Giddey. And we're just kind of projecting that. The difference between Luka and Kyrie in those two is I've seen Luka and Kyrie. Luka's a top 4 player in the world. Kyrie started in the All-Star game a year ago. Not 5 years ago. Last year, Kyrie Irving was an All-Star starter. I don't know, man. Like, there's just I understand it's fun, and this sucks for me too, because you guys know the Thunder are my favorite non-Mavericks team. You guys know how much I love Shai. I have rooted for and supported this Thunder team through and through. I was really trying to put them in the play-in tournament last year. Of course, they made the play-in tournament, but in my predictions, I was like, man, I wanted to put the Thunder in there because I went back and watched it. But there's a lot of question marks. And Chet could end up being incredible, and you know, all of this is a moot point. I know you love SGA, but Kyrie or SGA for a game 7 to make the finals? What, as my best player or as my second best player? I mean, Shai's so good, dude. Like, Kyrie's done it in the playoffs, so we do have that. Shai is just so good, man. I don't know. But dude, them finishing as the 8 seed would be really good. Like, that would be great. And then they can go into the next offseason off of a playoff appearance. They have so many trade pieces. Then they have a full year of sort of seeing what their team looks like with Shai, Giddey, and Chet, and add J-Dub into that mix. J-Dub's absolutely incredible. You know, I'm assuming Case and Wallace isn't going to get that much run this year. But then you can decide what you do moving forward. I don't know. We'll see. OKC's a scary deadline team too, for sure. So we'll see. They also have that. They're not the surprising young team anymore. I know that they didn't even make the playoffs last year and lost to the play-in, but like teams know who the Thunder are now. Mavs already too high. Let's get to our 7th seed. Last play-in spot before we get into the top 6 playoff teams. Jokic versus Chet would be interested in a 7-game series. Who do we think is here at 7? Mavs, Memphis, Warriors, Grizz, Wolves. This was another one that I changed around and changed last second. By the way, my last second change was I did have the Thunder as the 5 seed. I had the Thunder as the 5 seed. Went back and changed it. Put this team I'm about to put there as the 6 seed. Then went back and changed it again. Last possible second. Just so hard. So hard. It's hard to do these predictions now because the reality is whatever teams are the healthiest will be better. Like that's just so boring to say. This is where I have the Grizzlies, and I don't feel good about it because they've been just consistently one of the best regular season teams in the NBA over the last 3 years. And really, why would that change now? Jaw's out for 25 games. But I mean, they're 31-15 without Ja Morant the last 2 years. And that was with Tyus Jones. But you're replacing Tyus Jones with Marcus Smart. And you would like to think Marcus Smart is better than Tyus Jones. I think this trade's not going to be good. I'm going to say that. I think this trade we're going to look back on and say, wow, like Brad Stevens finessed. I do think we're going to think that. I think that the Grizzlies saw an opportunity to bring in a solid veteran guy, 2 years removed from Defensive Player of the Year, give you more of an identity, give you a vet in the locker room, and that might be much more impactful than we think. But get a vet in the locker room, a guy who's been on a finals team, But Marcus Smart did not look very good last year. And I'm wondering if the Celtics thought, oh, this is who he is now. So let's just maximize value while we can. Rip the Band-Aid off. I think D Rose does more of what Tyus does. And see, that's part of the reason why I had them here. If they're really relying on D Rose in a real capacity this year, I don't feel good about that. I just don't. I love D Rose. It would be really cool for him. You know, he's in Memphis where he went to college. Like, it'd be really cool for him to, you know, sort of have a bounce back year and be like a real solid contributor. But man, that's a tough sell for me. If it's like, don't worry guys, D Rose is going to take over. It's like, ooh. Did I jump into a time machine? Celtics fan said Marcus was a terrorist, and to be honest, he kind of was. I'm interested to see what the clutch stuff looks like with Marcus Smart too. But keep in mind, it's not like putting them in the play-in tournament. It's not like I think they're going to suck. I don't think they're going to suck. It's just impossible. And you guys fucking know. Are you guys crazy? You thought I was going to put the Mavs in the play-in tournament? Genuinely, you thought that? I really had you going. You're out of your mind if you think I'm putting the Mavericks in the play-in. So somebody had to be in it. Is the rational line of thinking being, oh, well, the Mavericks are probably a playing team, if we're being honest? Yeah, maybe. I'm not doing that. Steven Adams will be back. They were plus 7 points per 100 possessions when Steven Adams was on the floor versus when he's off. They were a terrible half-court offense last year, and they didn't do much to fix that in the offseason. They didn't really do much to fix that. So, Chad don't know about the slightly biased Mavs propaganda machine. Yeah, we've grown a lot. We've like doubled in size since the start of last season. And last season was such a shit show. I don't think people really understand the heights we could get to here. And that's partially my fault. I mean, not really my fault. How could anyone not fall victim to how horrible the Mavs were last year? So anyways, I like this team. They have some depth concerns like at the forward position that I don't love. And again, it's the half-court offense is bad, man. And that's more of a concern for me in the playoffs than the regular season because they are such a great transition team. Again, I mean, 25 games is a solid chunk of the season, but he will be back. Brandon Clark's out. That's a big one. Brandon Clark not there for the whole year. That's a big injury. He's really fucking good. All right, we're into the top 6. Who do we think's up here? I mean, we all know who's left at this point. We all know who's left. Here they are. Wolves. Fakers? Mavs. Definitely Wolves. Golden State. Lakers. Clips? No, we already did the Clippers. I was listening to the Through the Wire podcast, and I thought that I was taking crazy pills with the way they were talking about the Clippers. This is where I went with Dallas. So I'm taking a different approach this year. Taking a different approach. I think I overwhelmed the universe with my vibes last year. I think I overwhelmed the universe with my vibes. Just a little too crazy with it, right? This year, I'm reeling it in a little bit. Reeling it in a little bit. Reeling it in just a tiny bit. Just reeling it in. Not really reverse psychology. I think this is where they land. Vegas has them at 43.5 wins, which would put them 11th. Like, Vegas thinks they're going to finish 11th. Although I will say this, that number has fluctuated a bit. And I checked again today because I did most of this yesterday. I checked again today, and they were at 44.5 at the site I was looking at, which has them tied with like 5 other teams. So it's all over the place. Here's the thing, man. The Mavericks, Luka era. Luka's rookie year, bad, as is the case with most rookies. Record-wise, that's what I'm saying. The team that was bad record-wise. But they were like a sneaky competitive team that year, though. It wasn't like they were just getting creamed every night. 7 seed the next year. 5 seed the next year. 4 seed the next year. Year from hell last year. Year from hell. 7-15, ladies and gentlemen. 7-15 in the clutch after Kyrie Irving's trade. 7-15. You know how bad that is? Do you realize how bad that is? 29 clutch losses last year. 72% of free throw shooting in the clutch last year. 25th. Let me give you guys context here, okay? Where's my mouse? Yeah. Let me give you guys some stats right here, okay? You guys will find this interesting. So I went back and I looked. The last 5 teams to lead the league in clutch losses, because I've been saying this all summer. Clutch stats fluctuate like crazy from year to year. It's not all luck driven, because the Mavericks' interior defense was terrible. They couldn't rebound last year. All this stuff you see right here, that leads to you having a tough time in the clutch. They couldn't shoot free throws in the clutch. Their offense was a little disjointed in the clutch. So it's not like they were just super unlucky, but a good amount of it is unlucky. Let's just look through the last 5 teams to lead the league in clutch losses, okay? I'm going to read them off to you. Ready? 2018, the Dallas Mavericks, year before drafting Luka Doncic, 12-38 in the clutch, 38 clutch losses. Their record that year, 24-58. They were terrible. Got Luka Doncic. Hey! The next year, their clutch record improved to 20-26, and their record improved to 33-49. Still a bad team, but their win total improved by 9 games. Of course, they drafted Luka Doncic. That has a lot to do with it. The next year, the 2019 Memphis Grizzlies, 19-28 in the clutch. 33-49 was the record that year. The next year, they improved to 13-17 in the clutch and went 34-39, shortened season. Only 5 games below 500. The 2020 Pelicans, 13-28 in the clutch. 30-42 is their record that year. The next year, they go 18-21 in the clutch. And they improved their win total by only 1 game. 31 wins, but still, they improved their win total. 21 Raptors, 11-28 in the clutch. Jesus, that was when they were in Tampa Bay. That was a fiasco for them. They went 27-45 that season. The next year, they improved to 26-19 in clutch games and go 48-34. So improved their win total by 21 games. And then 2022 Indiana Pacers, who went 11-34 in the clutch, 25-37. They improved to 25-23 in the clutch and improved their win total by 10 games. So every single team that has led the league in clutch losses over the last 5 years has dramatically improved their clutch rating year over year and has also improved their win total. In order to hit their Vegas over, they need to improve their win total by, 2 games? That's absurd. They were 25th in defensive rating last year, 30th in offensive rebounding percentage, 25th in defensive rebounding percentage. I almost said Walker Kessler. That would be great if he was on the team. Can Derek Lively shore up those problems enough? Because if this kind of reverts back to being a middle of the pack defense, I don't expect them to be top 7 again like they were a couple years ago. But can this revert back to being a top 15 defense? And if that's the case, this team's going to be really fucking good. Like, this team's going to be good again. This team is going to be a good team again. I feel very confident in that. Because despite all of their flaws, they had the best half-court offense in the NBA last year. And this roster is better, for sure. No, 15th can be fine. Can they be 15th, though, with a rookie center and undersized wings? Yeah, they can. They were 7th 2 years ago, man. Don't think they'll be that again, but I don't think they'll be 25th again. The offense was so ungodly that the defense just needs to be not the worst in the league for them to be good. Yeah, exactly. You think this is going to be a bottom 5 defense again? Okay. I don't believe that, though. And then you do have some addition by subtraction going on. That's just what I'll say. I won't expand on it beyond that. But there does seem to be some addition by subtraction at play here. I won't expand on it further. What did the Celtics do to unlock Tingus? Black Evil Magic? I mean, KP is going to be good there if he's healthy. Like, it's not a matter of KP's ability. It's just, can he stay on the floor? That's really it. Porzingis was good for the Mavericks when he was healthy. Or not playing, yet recovering from injury while playing. All right, top 5. What they did was play a preseason game against the B team Knicks. I mean, KP does look good. There was a Hoops Hype highlight that was going around of him catching a lob. And I was like, I thought it was going to be some crazy play, but it was just a very basic lob. Like KP cut and caught a lob. Nuggets, Wolves, Timberwolves, Dubs, Lakers, Warriors. Man, some of you guys really think I had the Timberwolves in the top 4, huh? I am going to Timberwolves at 5. This one, this one's a really tough one. Really, really tough one. For some reason, I thought their offensive numbers were way better after the Mike Conley trade, but that just was not the case. Granted, Cat did miss a lot of the season. I think there's the reason why I have that Wolves in the top 5. I think there's a legit argument to be made that they might be the best defense in the NBA this year. I think there's an outside chance they have the best defense in the league. Will you be tuning in to watch some of Christian Wood's Lakers? I've already seen some of the tweets. Sorry. They were 8th in defensive rating last year. The post Mike Conley trade, they were 21st in offense. For some reason, I just thought that was better. But I still like, despite what the numbers say, I like Mike Conley's stabilizing presence offensively for that group. Obviously, Anthony Edwards should have the ball in his hands more. I don't know. I think Cat will be fine with that. Actually, I do. But we'll see. They were 19th in half-court offense after the Mike Conley trade. The thing with them that's really intriguing. The core 4, or if you want to say the 5 with Jaden McDaniels, which you can definitely say. But this core 4 with Cat, Gobert, Conley, and Ant were +8. With a 100 defensive rating. So, this is an outside chance this could be the best defense in the league, which is crazy to say because they have Cat at the 4, but you got great defenders up and down this lineup outside of him. Gobert, McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. Mike Conley is older, but he's still a solid defender. Off topic, Jetson, Mecole Hardman back to KC. Literally like when Gary Payton II got traded back to the Warriors. That was a crazy trade. If NFL trades are weird, though, because it's like, hey, we got a starter. We just gave up a 7th-round pick. NBA trades are like, hey, we got a 13th man. We gave up 16 second-round picks to get him. Yeah, and they're a deep team, too. They got Naz Reid, of course. Kyle Anderson, who I like a lot. Jordan McLaughlin. Am I missing anyone? I feel like I'm missing a key. Oh, I love the Shake Milton signing, by the way. That was a really good move for them. Boston will be better defensively. Yeah, I said Timberwolves have an outside chance to be the best defense. Boston's going to be a really good defense. The Lakers are going to have a really good defense. I mean, the Grizzlies will have a good defense again. Tim Conley masterclass after the Tim Conley disaster class. Hey, if the Wolves are good this year, though, I feel like the narrative will shift a tiny bit, right? I think Austin Rivers is still a free agent. I could be wrong, though. All right, we're into the top 4 now. A lot of the suspense feels gone. We all know the teams that are here. This is what I was kind of saying at the top, where last year was such a crazy year in the West. I could see this year kind of stabilizing a bit. Golden State, Dubs, come on, put the Warriors. Why do you guys want the Warriors to be here? Yeah, this is where I put the Suns. So, Vegas has them in second. Their offense is going to be unstoppable. If they're healthy. If they're healthy. This will be the best offense of all time, efficiency-wise. Like, I feel fairly confident they're going to shatter whatever offensive efficiency record there is for a team. It happens every year. The best offense is always ends up being the best offense of all time by efficiency. And the Suns will probably do it this year. Here's the thing, though, and here's where, for them, I sort of balk at them being like a dominant offensive or a dominant regular season team. Bradley Beal, the last 4 years, 57 games, 60, 40, 50. KD last 4 years, 35, 55, 47, 39. So by the new rules, neither of these guys over the last 4 seasons would have qualified to make an All-NBA team or qualified for any awards. Granted, I think this was a shortened season right here, or both of these shortened seasons. Either way. Booked the last 4 years. Sneaky. 53 games last year, 68 the year before that. Kind of feels like Beal is almost a lock at this point for like a... For like a couple weeks with a couple weeks with like a calf strain or something. And Nurkic last 4 years, I mean, Jesus Christ, 8 games, 37, 56, 52. They can't have these guys getting hurt. And they're going to get hurt. Like, they're going to miss time. And if like a group of these guys miss time together for any extended period of time, like a duo, a grouping of these 4 guys, it's going to be bad for them. It's going to be bad for them. And their number one goal needs to be getting to the playoffs healthy, as healthy as possible. So I think that I don't know how serious they're going to take the regular season. Even though Devin Booker's a dog and he's going to compete every single time out there. Same thing with Kevin Durant. Swap them with the Wolves or Dallas. Just can't see them being that good in the regular season. Like, this is where I was getting with the injury stuff, where it's like, if you're predicting the Suns to not be a great team, you're pretty much predicting them to have a ton of injuries. Because even though their defense is a bit sussy, their offense will just be so good it won't matter. They'll win a lot of regular season games. But it is just the health stuff with me, really. And then there are some concerns depth-wise in the playoffs. All right, who do I have at 3? Eric Gordon will shoot 8 of 9 from 3 in a game in the AAC when Book and Beal sit out. Oh my God. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. No, it'd be like K debates G-Op or something like that. Nuggets! For the love of everything good, put the Warriors here, man. Your take is getting worse and worse. Lakers. No, this is where I have the dub. So, why is my take so bad? I have them finishing third. The Vegas has them finishing third. (11-30) on the road last year. I mean, like 11-30 on the road, 33-8 at home. That is shocking. Absolutely shocking how jarring that is. The vibes were clearly fucked, and you can just tell the comments following the Jordan Poole trade. You just tell from the comments from some players and people on the coaching staff and in the front office, the vibes were horrible. The vibes were absolutely terrible. And even then, their typical starting five last year, Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Dre, Looney, had a plus 22 net rating, which was first in the entire league. The most dominant group of five in the league. They're still good. Last year, in a lot of ways, they had a season from hell. Still made it to the playoffs. And while the Chris Paul shit's hilarious to me, I don't think it's a guarantee he's on the team the full year. But Steph Curry on the floor, +5, 120 offensive rating, dominant. The moment he leaves the floor, that drops to -2 with a 112 offensive rating. So can Chris Paul kind of help stabilize those numbers? We aren't going to trade him, we promise. With D'Lo, yeah. I mean, his huge contract just kind of means that they have a salary match for bigger players. And I definitely think that's possible. So number 2, let's just get through it. There's not a lot of suspense here. Number 2 is where I have the Lakers. They were on a 52-win pace after the deadline. Did the best defense in the NBA after the deadline, after their flurry of trades. And I like their team a lot. I think they're very deep. I think they have a very good chance to be the number 1 defense in the NBA this year. AD is a sneaky MVP candidate. Will he be healthy enough? That's always the question. Christian Wood tax, they'll be worse. See, okay, so this is what I will give. This is what I will give. This is what I will give Lakers fans. Because Christian Wood has looked fucking terrible in the preseason. I just hate being that guy. But I hate being that guy, but it's a little funny. I'm sorry. Again, I hate being that guy. Anyways, the thing with Christian Wood is if it goes bad, they can cut him. He's on a minimum. He doesn't need to be on the team. That's it. And it does nothing for them. Like, the idea of Christian Wood is cool for them, and if it doesn't work out, whatever. It's literally not a thing for them. Anyways, I think they're going to be a really good team. They're really deep. I mean, LeBron doesn't even really need to do much. 21st year in the league, which is insane. They'll damn near average 30 points a game last year. Just absolutely, absolutely insane. We will probably never see anything like it again. AD, can he stay healthy? And then you have, like, D'Lo, who's, you know, whatever. But regular season, D'Lo, he was really good on the Lakers in the regular season after they traded for him. Austin Reeves. I have to say, I really like D'Lo saying that he wants to be like Derek White. I really respect that. I don't know if we're going to see that, but I really respect him saying that. And if I'm a Lakers fan, that excites me. I don't know if we're going to see it play out like that. But a guy like D'Angelo Russell, former All-Star, kind of feels like maybe I can be the guy on a team offensively. Saying that he wants to be the Derek White. That's what you want to hear. Gabe Vincent, they got Gabe Vincent too. Yeah, they're a deep team, man. Torian Prince, they got in the offseason as well. I remember all of the Wood Mavs extension talks after game 2 of the year last year when the Mavs beat the Grizz by like 45. That was the fuck, man. Outside of the Kyrie trade, and there was sweet, sweet moments of ecstasy. That was the highest point of the season. Game 2. What a disaster. What a year from hell. Maybe it's the mindset thing, but hopefully I can do it. He has the tools. D'Lo is a big guard with long arms. Yeah, he does have the tools to be a solid defender. So we shall see. But I like their team. And, of course, number 1, it's the Nuggets. They have Nikola Jokic, man. I think that I don't want to get into dynasty talks because it's really hard to repeat. And in order to be a dynasty, you got to win 3 or 4 or 5 of those things. But as long as they're healthy, they're going to continue to be a dominant force. Like, they just will. They're going to continue to be a dominant force. They're going to continue to be an incredible regular season team with healthy. And if healthy, they continue to be an incredible postseason team as well. So, are the Nuggets a sneaky trade team? Wait, oh. You mean like trade for a guy? What do they have? Do they have their picks? What contracts do they have to trade? Michael Porter Jr.? Maybe. The loss of Bruce Brown does hurt. And then you had what the fuck was his name? God, their GM or whatever talking to KOC. KOC got called out. Hilarious. But basically saying like, yeah, Bruce Brown, we're gonna miss him, but Jokic makes any player good. I mean, he is right. Something that I wouldn't want to be said. Obviously, to a reporter who's going to report that thing being said. But he is correct, though. He is correct. No one in the West got a center that can slow down Jokic. Man, there's no one who can slow down Jokic. There's really no one. Star becomes available. Michael Porter Jr., Brown, and picks for said star. Twitter acting like Bruce Brown's a superstar after he left. I think Christian Brown's more than capable of filling that role. I do. They're amazing, but it's kind of weird. Their rotation is like 6 guys. I mean, Strother's been amazing for them too. Like, they'll figure it out. They're definitely going to figure it out. So yeah, this was actually the easiest part of this whole thing for me. If 52 and a half, I'm trying to imagine a world where they do not hit that. Like some of these over-unders, I'm trying to imagine a world in which they do not hit 52 and a half wins. Knock on glass. It'd have to be another catastrophic injury to Murray or, God forbid, something to Jokic. I can't imagine they don't hit that number. That's crazy. Knock on KP. That's fucked up. Let me look back at some of these. Well, actually, I have it here. Boom. We have our conference predictions. Monday we're doing our award predictions. That was always a fun one too. Well, let me look at some of these plus minus stats, or not plus minus stats, over under stats, and see which ones are like kind of juicy to me. Blazers winning 27.5 games would be a little bit surprising to me. The last place team in the West last year, 22 games, 22 wins for the Rockets and the Spurs, 17 for the Pistons. The team that finishes last in the conference is not winning more than 27 games. Any propaganda this year? I guess not. The Mavs are the 6th seed. Listen, we're taking more of a realistic approach, but there will be propaganda. I'm hoping a video is ready to go tomorrow, and then there will be one next week. An annual tradition we do around here. Probably, can you say that crazy King stat regarding how many games their best players played? So let me find it again. Was it every single player in their rotation that averaged 15 minutes per game or more last year played 72 games or more, which is a crazy stat. They didn't have a single guy in their rotation who was getting 15 plus minutes miss more than 10 games. That's just nuts. West is so much deeper than the East. It really is. Healthiest team ever. I don't know if there's any stats to back it up, but that is insane health. So anyways, I think the Blazers will probably go under. Rockets at 31 is kind of a lot. Like that's implying they win 9 more games than last year, but it's definitely possible. Jazz at 35.5. I struggle to see that. That one kind of feels like a fairly simple under to me. And then all of these other teams, it's like the danger zone here, because it's like, oh, the Kings 44.5. Well, I think they're going to be 10th. Well, then I think about it more. I'm like 44.5. Like they could win that number of games. Mavericks at 43.5 is disrespectful. I think they hit that over fairly easily. I think it's a little bit nuts to think the Mavericks won't win 44 games, barring disaster. Nuggets at 52.5. I think they clear that easily. Lakers 46.5. I think they clear that easily. All these other teams are just stayaways for me. I don't know. Too much can go right. Too much can go wrong. Under on the Clips. Well, if I had gun to my head, had to bet on the Clips, I would take the under. I don't want to take the over on them. Let me look at some of the East over unders. Wizards at 23.5. I think I would go over on that actually. I think I would go over on the Wizards 23.5. I think I would go under on the Pistons. Over on the Hornets feels very safe to me, which is crazy to say, but 31.5 is low, and I think that they're better than that. I would feel fairly. I mean, the Raptors win total is so fucking low. 36.5 is so low. Vegas thinks they're going to be horrible. I wouldn't feel comfortable, even though I think they're going to be bad. I wouldn't feel comfortable going under on that. Some of these teams, man. Magic do kind of feel like a semi-safe over at 37.5, but I don't know though. Bulls kind of feel safe as an over on 37.5 to me. Hawks 41.5. I would hammer that. That's going over. Okay, that's absolutely going over. I would hammer that. I would feel pretty good about Cavs over as well. These other ones are just too high for me. 54.5. That's high. That's a high number. They probably cleared that if I had to guess, but that's a high number. 54.5. If I had to lock in anything in the East, I would say here. Let me highlight some lock. Let me highlight some locks just for future. Just for future. Boom. Over on the Cavs. That feels like a lock to me. I think they're gonna win over 50 games. Over on the Hawks. That feels like an easy cash for me. They're gonna be better than that. I would just don't feel comfortable. I think the Bulls are a fairly safe over on that number. And I don't feel good about any of these other teams. Actually, I will say I think the Wizards win more than 24 games. Yeah, 41.5 for the Hawks is kind of puzzling. And then in the West, I think the under for the Blazers feels fairly safe to me. Jazz under feels fairly safe as well. The West is going to be so hard, man. I struggle to see these teams I think are going to be bad winning a lot of games. Mavericks over. I feel pretty damn good about the Timberwolves over as well. That's a low number. Like Timberwolves below the Clippers? That don't feel right. Lakers feel very safe as an over to me. As do the Nuggets. I would feel fairly confident in So here was my makes you think the Grizz will hit that? Would jaw out for a bit? I wouldn't feel comfortable putting money on it is the thing. So these were my predictions. Blazers last, Spurs 14th, Jazz 13th, Pelicans at 12th. Just they check a lot of boxes for me for the team that's gonna have a season from hell. It's gonna be one team at least. It is every year, and in a conference like this where 11 teams want to make the playoffs, some team is gonna have a season from hell, at least one. Rockets 11th, Kings 10th, Clippers 9th, Thunder 8th, Grizzlies 7th, Mavericks 6th, Timberwolves 5th, Suns 4th, Warriors 3rd, Lakers 2nd, and Nuggets 1st. We'll see how it goes. They were really, really bad. My predictions were really, really bad last year. We'll see. That's all I can say. We'll see. Easy over on the Blazers. You're crazy. Easy over? I don't think you understand, man. If you're the worst team in the league, if you're the worst team in the conference, you're losing a lot of games. You're losing much more. You're not going to win nearly as much as 28 games. And some team is finishing last. Okay? Some team out there is finishing last. Let's just look at the standings year over year. Last year, I can already tell you right now, the Spurs and Rockets won 22 games. Year before that, $20 games for the Rockets. Year before that, 17 games for the Rockets. God, the Rockets fucking suck. That was a short season, to be fair. 15 for the Warriors, short season, to be fair. 19. 21. 24. Spurs roster is way worse than the Blazers roster. Blazers roster is better talent, but the fit's weird. And I don't really like the strange sort of young guys who are going to need the ball in their hands to develop versus older guys who still want the ball in their hands, which is what you're going to have. How many earned runs and innings from Scherzer tonight? I think he gives up 2 runs over 5 innings. I think he has a solid start. Solid start. Don't think they're going to go crazy and let him pitch 100 pitches. So I'm thinking 2 runs over 5 innings. Rangers going to have to score some runs tonight. They're going to have to score some runs to win tonight. It's going to be a tough one. You should do a worst contract in the league tier list. Might do something like that at some point. So here's the schedule moving forward. I'm hoping to have a video tomorrow. Regarding the Dallas Mavericks and how I feel about them. Friday, the Dallas Mavericks play their final preseason game against the Detroit Pistons. We'll be streaming that, obviously. They're doing a post-game show over on playback.tv/slightly biased. Next Monday is our award prediction stream, and then the season starts. So we're in the end game now, baby. We are in the end game now. It's been a fun off season. We've streamed a lot. We've done a lot of content over this off season. I believe we hit 10,000 subscribers over the off season. So it's been a nice off season. But I'm ready. I'm ready for this season to start, man. I've never been more ready. I'm super excited. Super excited. Are you going to be the new co-host on Locked On Mavs? And no, not permanently. Anyways, thank you guys for coming out. All of the OGs, you guys know I love you very much. It was a fun stream. Let's see. It's always fun revisiting these. Go Rangers. Come on, boys. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. They're not going to roll over for you. Come on, boys. All of the OGs, you guys know I love you very much. Could have spent your Wednesday afternoon anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys will not regret it. We are here, baby. We are here. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. It makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Video tomorrow. Stream again Friday for the Mavericks game. I think that game starts at 7, so I'll be live at like 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you guys then. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go Rangers. Hopefully by the time I talk to you again live, the Rangers are on their way to the World Series. Bye.